Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. This is your second to last RAC meeting, I believe. So I wanted to start off just by doing the usual roll call. So I'll start with Tiffany. You're here. Alex, I don't know yet. Cassandra. Chris, you here?
Yes.
Stephanie, don't know yet. Mina, don't know yet. Delon?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, hi. Mike Nail. Deborah Russo.
Here.
Hello.
Hi.
Sean Smith.
I'm here.
Okay. Steve Greenberg. No. Jim McCulley. And Rosie Enriquez. Okay. If they show up. Okay, so I don't see any members from the public. Oh, there's Jim. I don't see any members from the public. So I'll skip over the comments from the public. Hi, Jim, I see you, and I've just marked you down as present.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, so we'll move on to the discussion items. So I sent out as part of your agenda the community input received, which was that matrix. As you can see, we didn't receive anything else via the website. But I did see Sean's email today where the gentleman from the Farm Bureau that was at the District 5 meeting, he actually had a lot of comments at the meeting itself. So I was very happy to see that he actually did, because he came and asked me what my drop dead date was for him to provide input. So I told him September 15th. So I'm happy to see that he made it right around mid-September. So that's great. And then I also forwarded that on to our consultants as well as to our county's internal team, so they're aware of that input that came as well. Does anyone have any comments on that, or can I move on to the next item?
I had one comment or question. Can we get a comprehensive document for the comments? Because I know that, I talked to people over the last week and they said they submitted some things online and I didn't see them come in. So I just wanted to make sure that for the purposes of preparing the report that we have maybe one document that has everything in one PDF.
Okay, I'm guessing when they say they submitted something online, they may have submitted it through the tool, the mapping tool. But I nothing came through as actual comments that I could add to the matrix. That much I do know. So I will go and look at what came through on the mapping side and make sure that everyone can see those on the website.
I think it was through the email.
I'm sorry?
At least from my understanding, it wasn't necessarily a map. It was just an email comment.
Okay, I haven't seen that, so I will double check. I do check that mailbox daily, so I'm not sure why I haven't seen it. And like right now, I can see there's no new messages in it, but I will go double check just in case I missed something. I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the report to the board. This is our big task. This is our heavy lift. Be interesting to hear from you guys, where you guys are, how are you progressing. I did send you out that template that gave you an idea of what your report could possibly look like. It doesn't have to look like that. It can be different colors. It can be different pictures. I did, during the in-person meetings, I did actually take some photos of the in-person meetings. So there's some of those that we can add and crop and put into your report. I've asked the person who did the template for me, who works in my office, you know him, Matthew, he was at some of the meetings. He's I'll forward the pictures, the photos that I took and everything onto him so he can figure out how to put those in. But before I have him do that, I wanted to get your feedback on the report, you know, how you think you want it changed, how you'd like to view it. This is, I'm just throwing ideas out at you most of the time and hoping that you guys figure out what it is that how you'd like to see your report come together. So Tiffany, your hand's up.
Yeah, so thank you for putting the template together. It's just one less thing that we have to kind of worry about doing. And I just think at this point, it's just us getting whatever blurb that you need from us to go inside the report. So I appreciated it. I can't wait to see the finished product so that we can get this presented to the Board of Supervisors at this point in time.
Okay. So you're okay with the template the way it is? You don't want changed colors? I just use the colors we use for our website because it's sort of been our little theme. But you are your own committee and you're welcome to make it bright orange if you'd like.
Okay, in that case, I want pink. No, I'm teasing.
Hot pink.
Hot pink. There you go. Great.
The other thing,
Yeah,
the other thing I wanted to show the rack before, just so you guys could comment, is a comprehensive report of all the maps we've submitted and all the narratives that have come with the maps.
Right.
So I'm just going to share my screen and kind of describe it, and then I'll be sending both of these documents to Michelle afterwards to get to all of you. So this is what we call an atlas. You've seen the early version of this already, and this is basically the first half of the atlas is all of the map submissions we got at the in-person hearings that were drawn, and then what we've done is then draw them into Maptitude and produce these reports on each individual submission. So you can
That's
see
me.
what?
That's me.
Well, that's you. Yeah. So this is your district. And basically I've done this for every single submission. And so you can see where people have traced. And of course, my lines are kind of jagged and they conform to census geographies. Most people's maps were much more straighter lines and better shapes, but I tried to get them as close as possible. So you can see like these are the handwritten maps, and then at the back, we've basically taken the maps drawn in Districtor and put them into Maptitude, and then develop these pages of each. And you can see that a lot of times people, when they're drawing in Districtor, they don't completely trace everything. But I think you can get the idea of where this community of interest is. And if you want, you can also, this ID number is the map that's on the page. So if you want to go and see more detail, you can always pull that map up and get into it, a little bit more. And then on some of them where they've produced like more like a unified or multiple districts, there's a front page to the atlas that shows all the districts on the same page. And you can see on this one that like there are these little islands of areas within these other communities, and I think these are either errors or I don't know. I can't speak to them, but you can see that they're all pulled out in this atlas. And then the second thing we did was, because this atlas just has the outline geographically and kind of numbers, we wanted to also provide the narratives that were attached to all of the maps that we've submitted. So we've put together this COI map report. And this is, I'm going to send it to you as a PDF, but of course I did this in Word. So if you guys want to reorder this in any way, I can send the Word document as well, so you can move things around or include it however you'd like. But basically it has, so this is like the Districtor community of interest submissions, and then we've pulled out the descriptions for each of the different colors so that you can see how people describe. They're a little bit small, sorry for the thumbnail approach, but you can see how everyone describes their communities. And again, the ID numbers are attached to the map submitted, so you can go back and follow and like track back these maps if you want to zoom in more and see where the outlines are. But we thought this would give you a really good opportunity to kind of look at the COI from a from from an overall approach. So this has all the districtor maps, and then it also has those hand-drawn versions that we've done, which start with Robin Leong. So you can see also, so if someone wrote on their placemat and submitted it, a narrative, we tried to, as best we could, type it out and put it in these boxes. So I think we hope that these two reports will be helpful in writing your final report. So yeah, that I just want to make sure that you saw this and knew you had this as a resource as you work on the final report in this last week.
Could we get that as Microsoft Word as well?
Yeah. So this report, sorry, I stopped sharing my screen. The narrative description I can send you in Word. The
Okay.
other, the atlas is a PDF.
Okay.
And if there's components of it that you'd like extracted, I can edit PDF, so I can always extract it for you and send it your way.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Oops.
Muted.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions for Chris? So so relative to the report, I know you guys were going to meet as leads maybe last week. Can you give us an update where you're at?
Yeah, we just actually we just met right before this meeting. Aside from some emails going back and forth, and each district is kind of working on their own communities of interest and some possible themes there. So I know that District 2 and 3 sent out to the group their information, and the other 3 are still in progress. But yeah, I think other than when we talked, there was a couple questions. I think one of them I asked as far as getting the document with all the comments in one, so everybody can make sure we have everything, because I know I've gotten a lot of emails and I just don't want to make sure nobody misses anything that's been submitted. And then the other part of it was in the template, it says that the redistricting partners is going to provide the bulk of this report, and it mentions the themes and the COI data. Does that mean we should not come up with themes, or I just want to make sure of what part of the report we're responsible for, because I think it seems like it just keeps it's not entirely clear.
Okay.
I feel like it's clear, and then maybe it seems like things have maybe changed a little bit.
Okay, so I think what we envisioned was that redistricting partners would provide you with the data, and that's a lot of what Chris just showed you for that section. I think that they can certainly help us, but I think for the most part, we were looking for you guys to look for themes in the data as well, in your groups. If you see a theme and you're not sure, whatever, you can talk to me and Chris about it, and we can help sort of synthesize that, because ultimately we're going to end up having to write the executive summary, which should probably talk about the themes in the data, and then the portions that you're working on now should be more of the detail of the report, right? And so I think if there are, and it may be that there are no themes. I mean, I don't know at this point. I think I heard a couple of themes. There was a lot of discussion about agriculture and stuff like that. So I think there are a couple of themes in there that we can discuss. But just given the amount of feedback or participation we had, it's just not, I just don't think there's going to be that much. And I wouldn't worry about it if there isn't enough or too much or whatever. We just write about what we have, because ultimately what we're doing is we're giving them the facts, right? So I would suggest, if you see themes in your data, talk about those, because once the 5 districts have all got that, we can see if there's overlapping that we can talk about.
Sure.
If that
Yes.
helps.
Can we get that? I guess the sooner we can get all the data, then I think the sooner we can probably try to come up with a theme. And then the other part of it is on as far as timelines. I know, of course, we're running short on time as far as getting the report part submitted. I just wanted to make sure that we were very clear on on our responsibilities and the timeline, just so that we can try
Yeah,
to stay
so
within that.
So, okay, that's fine. I have like the technology piece written, I have the legal piece written. So I wanted to hear first from you guys about the template, if that was the way you wanted to go. I'll start filtering all that information into the report and start printing up those pieces so that we can start seeing what the gist of your report's going to look like. But as you guys have stuff, what you might want to do in the next day or two or discuss is when you write your sections, because you're writing it by district, try and write it as similar as possible. You know what I mean? So if you're going to talk about themes first and then talk about the nitty-gritty data, or are you try and write it so that it looks like one person wrote it. So maybe think
Sure.
about how you want to present each section that you're going through. I think that would be helpful for the board, because ultimately, if they, if it's written all differently, they're going to have a hard time following it, I think. And I don't know, maybe Chris, do you have any ideas of best ways for them to tackle that section of the report? Chris?
Sorry, I muted myself. I was sorry about that.
That's
I
okay.
I think going by district makes a lot of sense, and I think maybe going through the two documents I'm about to hit send on, and kind of looking at the ones that overlapped each of the districts that you have, and thinking through the discussions from those outreach hearings. Because I think in each of those hearings, there were themes that were discussed by those that participated, and you guys in the afterwards, right? Talking through the Vallejo District 1 and the Vallejo splits, talking through when we were in Fairfield and Vacaville, the how both of those cities are split in the current lines. Um, and and I think it came up. There was a lot of discussion and a lot of themes discussed in that final meeting we had, um, especially about the rural areas of the county. And I think the letter from the Farm Bureau really is a great outline of that discussion we had in that fifth hearing. So I think it's going through kind of your notes and your thoughts from those meetings, supplementing them with the maps that you'll have with these two reports, and then I think just talking through the themes that you've heard throughout. I think that's a good way to start, and I think it's really important not to try to. I think quality over quantity is important with this, because the board's going to look to this to kind of start drawing their lines. So I think it's important not just to make it longer, because I think that's sometimes committees like to do
Yeah,
longer
I
than
think you hit
necessary.
the nail on the head there with the quantity over quality over quantity, because I do think sometimes it can run away from you. It's kind of like writing a dissertation, which I know because I've done that. And next minute I
Yes.
have 300 pages, and it's really difficult to try and zone into what you have. So I would just pick the quality items, write about them, and maybe you have multiple paragraphs just sitting aside that you can then figure out how to flow them together.
Sure. Yeah, I think that just knowing the deadline is going to help drive. I don't think we're going to have a dissertation based on our conversation. I think we're talking, you know, at the most a couple pages per district, and just wanted to make sure that what our deadline is and what our responsibilities are, so we have time to draft it and kind of fine tune it for the cohesiveness.
Okay, so so one thing, so if we're going to be for the 28th, let me just double check the calendar. Yeah, if we're going to make it for the 28th, we really should be done by Thursday. However, I think that we can always attach, I can put the item in the system and then we can always attach the report later. What that means is it may not go out as part of the Board of Supervisors agenda, which is not always ideal. So I think that I think we're going to be hard pressed to even get it done by Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know.
Michelle,
Yeah.
if I can make an observation, these 5 people know the county very well. We're not going to come up with startling information, I don't believe, for any of them. So I think I may have been Sean, may have been Chris, may have been you, I'm not sure. Someone came up, with the thing that it's less is more. Really, if we have something that we think is particularly germane, there are certain things I can tell you from the Farm Bureau and from the Cattlemen's Association and other people in the agricultural community. They're feeling certain elements of isolation and other kinds of things, and they have great concerns about that. I don't think this is going to come as a big shock to Vasquez or Mashburn or Jim Sperry. Probably not for Aaron or Monica Brown either. But at any rate, I think if we just sort of go out and say, okay, these are the things that you may not know. These are the expressions that have been given to us, and I think maybe that's the kind of thing. And these can be line items. These can be things that are easy. And I can tell you from having run large organization and getting executive summaries and reports from various elements, I don't want to go through War and Peace. I need to know data fast. What is germane? What do I have to know? Because I'm going to have to take action on this and report to whomever it is up the line that I have to report to. So I think if we keep that in mind, we can come through with a report that's good and fairly quick.
Right. So what I would suggest is if you guys could start, if you guys put together your sections for each district, and then if you had to summarize that, into 2 or 3 sentences, because I think that's going to help us write the executive summary, right?
Yes.
Which ultimately you guys should do. Once you've got all your 5 district data together, you should be able to take it all together and then summarize it into the executive summary, which shouldn't be more than maybe a page long. And so I think that once the faster you put your district stuff together, the faster you can summarize what all you're displaying, and then we can plug that in. And the faster you give me your sections of it, I can start flowing them into the document. And as I keep the document updated, I can just keep forwarding it out to you so you can start seeing what it looks like.
Well, Rosie and I are putting ours together. I started writing my data yesterday and some today, and I intend to hopefully finish it up tomorrow.
Okay.
So that I can get it she and I can get it transmitted to you, so you will be able to see what we've done and why. And as far as the other thing is concerned, getting all of our reports to kind of follow the same pattern, I think it's very helpful to do that. Because as you said, if you're going through this and all of a sudden, wait a minute, this is a disconnect. Where does that go? And you're looking around the room trying to figure out what's going on. That's not helpful. And it just it's going to be very annoying to them. We don't want to annoy them.
And I think maybe for each district, you should start off by introducing the district, right? District 5 is predominantly agricultural, blah, 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 blah. Something like that.
Exactly.
So each district introduces themselves, and then the data that you're going to that's coming with it is going to be in line with the things like, because just going to the last meeting, that is a predominantly agricultural district, but and most of what we heard from those people was agricultural stuff. So it's all going to
Right.
flow like that. Tiffany, on the other hand, is going to have the, can talk about how Vallejo is the most populous
Of course,
district,
certainly.
blah, 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 or the
Right.
city is the most populous, and, there's little to no unincorporated area there. And then most of what she's going to hear is going to be about, trying to keep those bigger populations together that are like-minded or, whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that I think it can flow that way. Introduce it, the district itself. Not that they need an introduction, but you must also remember that this report is not only for the 5 supervisors, right? This is a public document. So anyone that ever wants to pick this up and read it must be able to understand what you're trying to convey to them.
Well, they have to have a picture of the county. What does this all mean? And these are the different elements, but here's the whole.
Right.
And this is what it says. So yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I will start putting together the pieces that I've written so far, start flowing them into the report. And then I'll send that out to you so you can start seeing what that looks like. We'll probably throw a couple of more, just stock photos in there. And I suggest we use some of the stock photos because it's not like this. Most of this project was virtual, so it made it very difficult. I am going to do a couple of screenshots where we did, RAC meetings, or where we did the virtual outreach meetings. I will do, we can use some of those screenshots, but for the most part, I'm going to try and use stock photos where I can, where it's sort of more common stuff. And then we'll fumble around it until we get the report to a point where we like it.
Right.
Okay. Did you have another question, Jim, or is your
No,
hand still up?
I'm sorry. Let me
That's okay.
quit playing with the magic TV screen here. So
Okay.
did I do that right? I hope.
Yes,
Okay.
you did.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Any more questions? Anything else I can help with? How can I help you guys?
I think what you've done, I mean, you're putting out the format, you're showing that. I mean, that's going to be a helpful thing. Anytime you have a go by, that's a great place to start. This is what this product should look like at the end, because we're trying to convey this information in this form. Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
However it is, I mean, I don't care. I don't have any dog in that fight. Whatever the line items, you just plug in the information.
Okay, so then let's talk about, let's also talk about the presentation to the board. The board has gone back into in-person meetings. So this would be an in-person presentation. I haven't been able to find out yet whether we can do dial in, but well, we probably can, because we have community members that dial into the meeting for public comments. So if you needed to dial in, we could probably have you do that. But my suggestion would be that I would go up, I would introduce the item to the board. I would remind them that they put the committee together and that the committee has and they tasked the committee with this report, and the committee is here to give them a report out on their findings. And then I will, just start off with District 1, go through the few things, and I would keep it as short as possible for them. You might want to consider doing something like a quad slide where you have 4 boxes, and if you have 4 things to convey, just put something in each box so you have 1 slide per district. One thing our board doesn't like is if presentations go on and on and on and on, and so we want to be mindful of that they are sitting through long meetings with PowerPoints flying at them all, the whole time. So we want to be mindful of that. So but however you guys decide you want to do your presentations, try and do it also so that they can anticipate what the next district slide might look like. It can't be like all over the place, right? Just try and figure out what format you think you'd like to do it in. So I said quad slide just because in the military we do that, right? We always have specific boxes, and that's what we speak to, and then we put little pictures if we need to. And then it's easy. It's always a one slide system. You guys can decide to maybe do 2 slides per district or something. Maybe one's, all about the data, and another one's about, I don't know, pick something. So I think you guys need to figure that one out too, how you want to do that. We can certainly help with the PowerPoint if you guys don't have that ability. But if I do need to help with the PowerPoint, I need to know soon, because I would start building that PowerPoint at that point. And it would probably follow some level of the report, and then your district information. But the bulk of your presentation to the board is going to be, what did you hear from the community? Because that's what they tasked you with. What is community concerned about? Or, what are their communities of interest? So I think that should be the bulk of the report that comes out. Everything else can be in the written part that they can read separately, which is some of the stuff that we're helping you with to help synthesize a constructive report.
Okay.
So you guys let me know, probably if you can by the end of the weekend, if you can figure out how you think you might consider wanting to present this, and then I'll start. I can put a template together for that too if you want, or Sean, you can use the template you had before and move things around. However you guys want to do that would work for me.
Okay.
My task next week is to help you guys get to this finish line. I am out of the office tomorrow, but I am available if you send me an email. I periodically check my email, so and over the weekend I'll be working over the weekend on Solano stuff. So if you need anything, just forward me an email and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I see it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, anyone else? Are you guys feeling good about this?
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I'm fine. Look, I'm fine.
It's a process. We'll see where we are at the end of the day. But all we can do is present what the information we've gathered. That's it.
Yeah.
And the chips fall where they may after that, because it's out of our hands. All we're doing is gathering information, and people, above our pay grade are going to make that decision.
I said to the I was saying to the district leads in our meeting, I was like, it's going to become real to people once they start seeing like the draft maps, like,
Mm-hmm.
once you have something tangible to kind of look at and then play with. I think there's going to be some more feedback. But also we kind of talked about, and I don't know if this is the most appropriate place to bring this up, but even while the supervisors are making the selection of which maps, that represent what Solano County looks like, it would still be good to have us as continuing on as advisory, for them, because again, we're, a lot of us are still attached to the community. But I think when the maps actually get out, that I was saying, there's going to be people are going to be like, well, I want this and I want this. And so still, I don't know if they can continue with this advisory commission, but, I know that I would be more than happy to still remain on as, not a consultant, but just in an advisory capacity as they're moving through this process. It's really important. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because we did discuss it. I was like, I think it'd be cool. I wouldn't mind.
So that can certainly be something you, as part of your presentation, when you conclude your presentation, you can tell them that as a committee, you would be happy to stay on. I mean, they can decide what they, at that point, what they want to do.
Michelle, I have a question, with regard to this, and I think that what was said has merit, because it is going to get real. Once people can see it visually, okay, wait a minute, now I see what you're talking about. No, I don't like that. Yes, I do. Or gee whiz, why'd you do that? All of that's going to come into play, certainly. But it's going to be very interesting. But I think what we are providing will give them a lot of food for thought. But they've also got all of that census data to go through. So there's a lot of things that, while we're going to have input in other stuff, we don't at all. That's coming from the federal government or wherever it's coming from. So it's going to be an interesting process.
Yeah, it will. And just let me update you while we're talking about this. I don't know if you watch our county board meetings, but on Tuesday, I did a presentation to them on the state's redistricting process. And
yeah, I listened to it. I heard you.
Okay. And and because it was the discussion was for the county to provide input to the state's redistricting process to on communities of interest. And so, and that's what I spent my whole day doing today, is finalizing that letter that's going to go to the state to tell the state what's important for Solano County as communities, as a community of interest, right? Because of our district lines and who represents us, or the districts, how we are split up between the congressional and state districts. And but one thing that did come up, and it wasn't during my item, it was actually an item prior to this one, is we had set a special meeting for November 16th. It's a night meeting, which would be so that they could have, so that the board could hear. It's just an additional night here meeting, so the board could conduct a public hearing on the maps, because at that point they'll be looking at maps. And Supervisor Spearing was unable to make that meeting but wanted to be present. So they've actually changed that meeting to the night of the 17th. I will be putting something out on Solano County's website. And I will be doing like one of those MailChimp mail outs so that everyone knows the schedule has changed. But I did want you to be aware. So if anyone asks, I will be putting out a new or the revised hearing schedule for the Board of Supervisors meetings, in the next few days.
The 17th?
Yeah, so it's the 17th of November instead of the 16th of November. So
Right.
it's really, it's just
what
on
day
a
of the week
Wednesday.
is it?
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday evenings, and it was a 6 to 8, I think. Wasn't that what the time frame
It'll
was?
start at 6 o'clock. I don't think they will stop at 8.
Yeah.
I think they'll finish because
When
it's
they
a public
finish.
hearing. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that has happened. But other than that, I'm happy to continue to see how I can help you guys. I'll start filling out the pieces. Our county council gave us the written piece for the legal side that we can put into the report. I've got the IT pieces, and I took some snapshots of the county's website that can all get put into your report. So, because all of this forms part of this whole process that came together.
Right. Okay.
All righty. So other than that, I think the next item is we have one more meeting, which is next Thursday. So I'm going to put out your agenda tonight for next Thursday's meeting. And it'll be much the same as this agenda. It'll be finalizing the report. I do want to note to you, if you feel like time is too short for this, we could bump your report to the following board meeting, which would be October 4th. But that wouldn't be, I don't know what that agenda, if it's a heavy agenda at this point. but if you feel that you absolutely need the extra time, we can bump it by a week. That'll give you another week to do stuff. But also remember, everything you give me, I have to be able to turn it around really fast as well. So I need time to be able to push everything into that template.
Okay. I mean, you need to sleep. I mean,
maybe sometimes.
okay. All right, great. Thanks.
Yeah. So, all right. Other than that, are there any questions? Anything else? So you guys are working hard. I'm glad to hear it. I'm excited to see what you're going to send me. So I'm assuming sometime over the next couple of days, I'll start seeing stuff from you guys. I will push out what Chris has sent to me. He may have sent it to you as well. Yeah, he did. So he's already sent you the documents that you guys, so you have those to start working on that. So then I'll look at all the input that we received today to see if there's anything else that I've received that you're not seeing. And then, so I have a question for Chris, the consultant. Are you still on, Chris?
I'm still here.
Perfect. Hey, so my question to you is on the maps that people used, where they use the online mapping tool, are you
Yes.
going to turn that data into the Maptitude format as well for the group?
It's in the atlas already, and it's included in the description document in those two documents.
Okay.
They're both in there. You can tell the difference by the names of the maps. The Maptitude maps all have an ID in their titles, and that tracks back to the IDs on the web page, so you can track them back. And then all the handwritten maps that we converted to Maptitude and put out, those have the name of the submitter, or basically there's one that was done anonymously, but most of them were done with somebody's name and then the date that we received those. So those correspond to, like, we got map submissions from the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th hearings. So I think it's like the 31st of August or July, August 7th, 21st, and 28th.
Okay. Perfect. All righty. Well, it sounds like you're going to have most of this information in your inbox, in the next few minutes. I'm going to go back and check everything I can right now. And then I did want to acknowledge, Alex, I did see your email that you're online, so I've marked you present. So other than that, if any last questions before we adjourn for the night? Okay. Rosie, do you have a question?
Yes, I came in 4 minutes late. Could you mark me present, please?
Will do.
Thank you so much, and excellent information. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Actually, before you all get off, I'm actually going to just export the list of people. And then, okay, so I've got that. So everyone that is dialed in right now, I will double check and make sure you mark present. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. I will start sending you as much information as I can in the next few days.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, thanks.
Good night. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you. See you later.
See you later.